DJ Do-Wrong from Hot 702.5 in Las Vegas, it's time to come together. Rainbow Dreams Educational Foundation presents the 24th annual Las Vegas Juneteenth Festival, going down Saturday, June 21st from 4 to 9 p.m. at the Expo at World Market Center, and it's free to the public. Catch R&B icon Tweet live on stage, plus performances by Kiss Kiss and the Squad, Darnell Alexander, Unk and the Nephews, and Las Vegas's pop princess Ray Millie. Hosted by DJ Ambeezy with Not a Boy DJ and DJ Kelly J on the ones and twos. Stop by and visit the Hot 702.5 FM live remote tent and check in with our on-air personalities. Shop the vendor marketplace, hit up the food trucks, and enjoy surprise guests throughout the night. Presented in partnership with Google, MGM Resorts International, Live You Equals You in the city of Las Vegas. Come together this Juneteenth weekend to celebrate freedom with Tweet and Rainbow Dreams. Get your e-ticket now and be entered to win one of our fabulous prizes. Visit June19LV.com. That's June19LV.com. DJ Do-Wrong from Hot 7.
The Bells are back in the building. Don't worry about where them fans at. Where them Bells are. They're back in the building. Welcome to Marriage Bootcamp with the Bells this Saturday afternoon, May 17th, Lady Bell. May 17th, 2025, already. That we got to go over. Yes. So I'm going to let you introduce our guest that's in the building with us today. Go ahead, Lady Bell.
We have a powerhouse in the building today, a powerhouse joining us. They make a real impact on the world of relationships and marriage. This couple is an advocate for strong, lasting marriages and a guiding light for couples looking to heal, reconnect, and thrive. Prestel wrote this book, and she's the author of the incredible book, The Couple's Cure, a must-read for anyone who wants to break toxic cycles, build emotional intimacy, and truly transform their relationship. This book isn't just about fixing a marriage. It's about redefining what's possible when two people commit to real, intentional growth. Prestel, we're so excited to have you and Kamal here. Before we dive in, can you share what inspired you to write The Couple's Cure and what was the driving force?
Hold up, Lady Bell. Slow down. You got to introduce them and let them introduce themselves. Slow down, girl. I know you're so excited.
I am.
Welcome, Kamal and
am.
Prestel. Welcome to Marriage Bootcamp with the Bells. Please introduce yourself. Oh, I know it's always lady first. So you want to introduce yourself and give us a quick history, a quick bio of you, and then we're going to get on this exciting book that Lady Bell just can't wait to get to.
Well, thank you. First of all, for having us. I am absolutely delighted to be here to share our message, and relationships really is about messaging. Make no mistake about that. In terms of background, I am an author, speaker, trainer, and a certified coach who loves to work with individuals and couples. I know my mission, I live my passion, and I live my mission. My mission is training and inspiring individuals and people to live their best lives and be their best selves. Having said that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Askia.
Hello, I'm Kamal Askia, and I'm just the glue that handles, it makes us work together. I don't do a lot of talking, I don't do a lot of speaking, but I will do a lot of making sure everything is joined the right way. I've been a financial advisor, I've been a travel agent, been a international cargo dealer. So I've been in a lot of businesses, but now I'm doing the business of keeping couples together. So that's what I do.
And keeping couples together, you missed the important part. Tell the people how many years you guys been married.
We've been married 40 years, and we are into our 41st year. 40
years, okay, of marriage.
And how long we been together?
How long y'all?
Go for it.
48 years.
48 years total, 40 years married, on year number 41.
Just saying, he likes younger women. I was very young when we, no.
But hey, Lady Bell always tell me, don't ask nobody their age.
Absolutely
if they're not volunteering ages, we ain't gonna ask no ages. But 40 years is a What's that word I always use, Lady Bell? Help me.
A milestone.
It's a milestone,
Major
a major milestone,
Mm-hmm.
especially, well, y'all got married 40 years ago. For a couple to survive 40 years, 4 years in this day and time. But you answer a lot of that in your book. Lady Bell, I know you got some questions that you've been dying to get to.
Can I dive in now?
You can dive in now.
Okay. Okay. Who did you have in mind when writing this book? Is it for struggling couples, newlyweds, or all relationships in general?
Actually, what I'm going to do is go back a little bit to that
Okay.
first question that
All right,
you
all
asked,
right,
and that
all right.
is what inspired me. So, at a very young age in high school, I had a dear friend who lived across the street from me, and her parents divorced. She was of the impression that she was a major cause of the divorce. Not the case at all. She didn't know it at the time. And many times children think that that's the case. And yet I knew couples that were married for 15, 20, 30 years. There are also the Kardashians, one of them, who was married for 72 days or so.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Remember that? Well, technically that's not a marriage, but they
Yeah.
did go through the formality. And so way back when I was in high school, I decided then I wanted to know what it was that took people to longevity, not only the years and distance, but what it is that kept them in a healthy, happy, joyful, peaceful relationship. Those were the key elements that I was looking for. So for the past 25, 30 years prior to writing the book, I had very casual conversations. I had hardcore interviews. I was standing online in the grocery store, and I would ask one question. And here's the question: what is it that makes for healthy, happy relationships? And then I'd stop talking. And so during the course of those interviews, I discovered that there were a number of key elements that surfaced in virtually every single couple's and or individual's assessment when it came to healthy, happy relationships. And so that's what motivated me to write the book. So the early on concern about having a healthy, happy relationship myself, and gathering all of that data that some 500 people that I've talked to over the years,
Say that again. How many people?
500.
Mm.
Some very casual, some formal interviews, but enough knowledge that allowed me to put together the 7 healthy steps to a healthy, happy relationship. Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot. I got caught up in there. Okay. So, wow, that's a lot. Okay. So, who did you have in mind when writing this book?
You asked about the struggling couples,
Yeah.
the new couples, the
Relationships
long-
in general. Yeah.
Absolutely. It addresses every aspect of a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And what we didn't talk about were the people who are no longer in relationships, who are looking to get into relationships. And with that being the case, this book covers all aspects of any kind of
Yes, it
interpersonal
does.
relationship
Mhm.
that you might have
Mm-hmm.
or want to improve upon,
Mm-hmm.
because people struggle in relationships. Relationships are not difficult, but they're not easy either.
Mhm.
It's like growing a garden. If you plant a beautiful, healthy garden on one side, the opposite would be to develop a relationship. You've got to tend to that garden. You've got to weed it.
Mm-hmm.
And if the flowers are not growing, you need to provide the fertilizer. You need to water it. You need to prune, if it's a tree, whatever. It matters not. But the point is, you have to take care of that relationship. The same thing is true. You get married or you become involved in a relationship. You've got to tend to that relationship. It does not flourish unless you devote the kinds of energy, time, and effort that are necessary in order to have it grow.
Can I jump in here? You use a garden as a marriage. And you
Yes.
got to tend to it. You got to take care of it. You got to go through time and water it. You got to take the weeds out. You got to you got to protect it from critters, all
Absolutely.
types of critters. Now you use the garden. I always use a tree. They say it takes a tree in a good environment. It takes a tree 20 to 25 years to grow to maturity. So, but at the same time, you got to protect that tree. You got to water that tree. Got to get a certain amount of water, a certain amount of sunlight. You trim from time to time to trim the bad parts off. But like you say in the garden, my analogy I use with a tree is that at some point in time, maybe I might be jumping ahead of where we're going with this. Because you said, because garden, we're looking at the end of that garden, we're looking for what we're growing from that garden to feed us, to provide nutrition for us, or whatever you're growing in that garden. At the end of the season, it's time to go in and pick out whatever, carrots, tomatoes, cabbage, greens. Where y'all from, matter of fact? Where y'all from originally? Y'all country folks?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I grew up in California, but I was born in Mississippi.
So how old was you when you were to Mississippi?
When we left, I was 2. So California, it doesn't matter.
They got gardens in California.
Oh, absolutely. We had a garden. See, I'm old school. We had gardens. We had greens, tomatoes. And by the way, that was when tomatoes were red and sweet. The tomato is a fruit, hence the seed. And I would go out, we used no pesticides, but I would go out and pick a tomato and eat the tomato because it was good. It was delicious. It was healthy. Now we have what appear to be tomatoes, but they don't taste like tomatoes.
Nothing tastes like anything.
They've been re-engineered.
Right.
And you see, I had to learn from that because I'm from Philadelphia, and we had the garden of the grocery store. So you're gonna get a can of tomatoes.
So you know nothing about a real garden.
Nothing about a real garden.
Nothing at all. You never pulled a weed out of a garden, chased a snake out of a garden.
I didn't know what snakes were. What you could do.
So you a real city boy.
I'm a real city.
Oh my God. I'm a country boy from the city.
Yeah.
I grew up in Cleveland, but we lived in a little hick town about 20 miles out of Cleveland. So we had gardens, dirt roads, and all that good stuff.
All right.
But yeah, so I always refer to a marriage as a tree. And like you said, at the end of that season or that growing point, you're going to pull those greens. Or like you just said about the tomato, you want it to be sweet. You want it had a taste to it. It had a flavor to it. It had a texture to it. Now, like you said today, we don't get that. Everything is seedless.
Exactly.
How you going to get fruit from something seedless?
Exactly.
And so our marriage shouldn't be seedless. It should be always flourishing, always growing. It might go through a season like your garden. You only have a garden for a certain amount of months. You plant your stuff, you grow it, you harvest it, and then boom, you wait until the next season. A tree is always going through its season, winter, spring, and fall. But when it's that season of fruit bearing, I think that's how our marriages should be, because you talked about longevity of marriage, and I'm not jumping way ahead of what we were talking about. So because I had it tied into another question. So go ahead, lady. Finish
right.
where you was at.
You are doing just fine.
Okay. Robert and I have read your book, and we love how you break down the title. Many people might see the couples cure and think of it as a quick fix, but we know that the cure stands for couples unique relationship experience. Can you share with our listeners what that really means? What is the cure that you're offering couples, and how does it help them transform their relationships?
So CURE, CURE, couples unique relationship experience. And what that means is that every single couple, in spite of the fact that we are human beings, we have individual relationship experiences. For me, and here I'll use another analogy. If you live in a home, there may be 15, 20 houses on your street that are identical. They are homes, they are houses. However, when you go into that house, every single one is different. They've got different decor. The paint on the wall is different. The furniture is different. Some have carpeting, others have, what's it called? The LVP. the new flooring, which I absolutely love, by the way. But the point is, we all live in houses, but every single house is not necessarily a home.
Right.
And it's that unique experience, the challenges, the wholesome activities that come together that make for healthy relationships. And so the cure, CURE, is the individuality of that particular couple's relationship experience. And in that regard, individual couples also need individual cures to help alleviate any challenges that they might have as well.
I heard two words there. I think I heard it right because I got a little bit of a congestion here, so my hearing is a little off. You said for every house to become a home.
Yes.
Did you say that?
I did.
Did I say correct? Did I
Yes.
say correctly?
Yes.
So is there a difference from a house and a home?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. A house is a structure. A house is a depending on where you live. East Coast have basements.
Yeah.
So you've got a foundation, you've got the 2x4s, the plaster walls, and a roof. That does not make a home. It's what goes on inside the house, the people that live there, the environment, what you bring to the home or to the house that makes it a home. It has to be a healthy, loving relationship in order to make it home, with or without children. I don't know if either of you have ever been to a home and I'm thinking now of a party that I went to in Philadelphia, and I walked into this party and it was cold. It was dark, but there was something not quite right. And that's a red flag. That's what I call a red flag. And we have those in relationships too, and we'll come back to that in a minute. But when you walk into a home or house and you've got those kinds of red flags, you need to turn around or ease on out of there, because that
Right.
is not a healthy environment.
Right.
On the other hand, when you walk in and people say, "Oh my gosh, I feel so warm in here. Your home is so inviting and loving, and it protrudes and it exudes love," that then becomes a home.
So then a home. So you said a house is, and it depends on where you're from. It could have a basement.
Yes.
You got the structure,
Yes.
the framing,
The roof.
the roof, and then you have the finished product of the house.
Yes,
So, and then you said you got to make it become a home.
that's right.
It doesn't matter the size of the house to make it a home.
Oh no, absolutely not.
So the bigger the house don't make it a better home.
Absolutely not. You can live in a 2x4 matchbox and still have a home because you've got a loving relationship within that home.
Can you repeat that part? You can live in what?
A 2x2 matchbox. Is that what I said? But it does not have to be humongous in order to make it a home. And you can have all of the loving or all of the beautiful furniture in the world inside that home. But if the people who are inside that home
That's good.
have no intimacy, there is no connectivity, there is no love, there is nothing that is flourishing, they're not tending to their garden. That then is not a home. It's the people, the environment, and everything inside, the relationships that make for the home versus the house.
That's good.
I know we got all these notes, but my mind be doing 1,000 miles an hour, and then sometimes people just need to know,
That's
like we get a lot of young couples, only if I had more money. Money's not your answer.
It is not the answer. Money, and in fact, in the book, there is a chapter that is devoted to money, and it's called Money Mates. And it's the value that is placed upon money, and not only the values, but what you do. How do you handle money? So often people assume, and this is something that I totally disagree with, the assumption is, well, one is a spender, one is a saver. Not necessarily so. The most healthy relationships are those couples who have and they maintain the same kind of values as it relates to money. So you're on the same page. You save collectively, you spend collectively, you honor one another's spending habits. in our relationship, and you can testify to this, if there is something that one of us wants and it's greater than, and I think over the years we've used like $200, it has never been an established $200, $500, $50, but we confer with one another. Most of the time, there was a time though when he went out to get milk and he comes back with a TV. He and my son went out, but that was rare, and that doesn't happen often. But we hold the same kind of monetary values, and our principles of operation are based on our values. Anyway,
Did you guys establish this 40 years ago? Or this?
I don't think we
I
had.
think 40 years ago, I looked at it, at least from the environment that I came up in. Whatever I made today, I can go out and make it tomorrow. So I didn't have any firm relationship saying money has to go this way, or I got to hold, this is my money, this is your money. Hey, if I gave you $1,000 and you spent it all up, so what? I'll make it tomorrow. And I always believed in that. And I think that's good for everybody. Because again, you're not worried about money, because the point is that you are supposed to be the one who makes it,
Right.
and you can do it.
And there's a semicolon. There's more, because women are bread earners and winners as well. But to answer your question, Robert, I don't think we sat down and talked about these specifics of money 40 years ago or 50 years ago. What we did do, however, was establish an understanding, understanding that our household money was household money. It wasn't his nor mine. It was household.
Say that again.
Our monies, incoming monies, were quote unquote household monies. It wasn't his money nor mine. There have been times when he's made more. There have been times when I've made more. There have been times when he was laid off, I was laid off. We were going through changes as all couples do, but it was always household money. It wasn't his nor mine. We never went out and bought a vehicle without one another's knowledge.
Can you repeat that part?
See,
So somebody needs to hear that. You never did what?
I hear people go out and they buy vehicles, well, a vehicle is not a partial, but vehicles and major investments that impact.
Whole brand new cars.
Yes. Without sharing. Robert, did you do that?
No, never would I do that.
I wouldn't do that. But
No,
there are people
we
who
don't do that.
Yeah, we don't do that. There are people who do that without
Yeah.
consulting and confiding and sharing what they want to do with their partner. That does not work. That builds a system of untrust. Untrust. And you've got to have trust in the relationship.
So from day one, y'all had not his money, not your money, but household money.
Yes.
Yes. So is another word for household money. I'd like to use our money.
Absolutely.
Not her money, not my money, but our money.
Our
So
money.
our money is the same thing as household money.
Absolutely.
So if she's making 100,000 and I'm making 20,000, we're making 120,000.
You got it.
If I'm making 100,000 and she making 25,000, we're making 125,000.
Absolutely.
If I'm making 100,000, she making 100,000, we making 200,000.
That's right.
It ain't about what about 50-50?
No, people, that brings up another subject. There are couples who say, all right, I'll pay the mortgage and you pay the light,
Utilities.
power, garbage collection, and the car note. And then one of them gets laid off. So then what happens?
Then what?
Yeah.
The
Where
other
them
one-
bills at? Where them bills?
The other one says, well, I'm going to take care of the mortgage, but what about the light, the gas, the car note? And that partner is up, creek. And the fact is, if you had our money, our household money, then the two of you can work through those processes to find out, all right, what do we need to do to make this happen?
Right.
But there is no, in our household, there is no separation of money.
Mm.
It is our money.
Why is that so tough? Why is that so tough? I mean, and I think through the generations, I don't know about you guys' generation, but I know since our generation, you know, we talk to our friends our ages, like they look us like we crazy when we say it's our money.
Oh, absolutely.
When we talk to younger couples, they look like us crazy. Like, what do you mean our money? No, I got my account, she got her account, and
then we got the house
we got the house account, and then and like you said about buying objects, you know. Well, my wife went out and bought a brand new Benz, and she told me, "Don't worry about it. I pay my portion of the household bill. I can do what I want to do with my money." I don't know. Maybe I'm just old school, but I just don't understand that.
In some instances, old schools work. I ask you to ask them, how's the rest of their relationship? How is the rest of the relationship doing? When you establish and compartmentalize your life, your money, who does what in terms of household responsibilities. This is our home. We all pitch in, we all help. In our household, most of the time I cook. He does dish. We had never gone to bed without doing dishes in 50 years. 41 into our 41st. Well, no, we never lived together. No, we didn't before we got married. But the point here is everything is a collective effort. We have cleaning days. We've had housekeepers in the past, but when we clean collectively together, and it works for us. So I say to those people who have compartmentalized their monies and what they do, and they're not willing to bend over backwards to help the other out if the designation is to clean the bathroom and he happens to get sick and that's his responsibility, then I jump in and pitch in. There are no hard, fast, black and white rules that say you have to do this, and if you don't, I don't do it.
Right.
Not my job, man. That does not work. That doesn't work.
In this day and time, with both individuals working, there is no gender roles. You know, our thing is whatever we have to do to make the house a home.
That's right.
It's not about I'm not washing dishes. I grew up with 7 sisters. I never washed dishes. I grew up with 7 sisters. I mean, I washed them just because everybody else washing dishes, let me wash dishes, but I didn't have to wash dishes. Exactly. But my sisters didn't have to take the garbage out. They didn't have to cut the grass. And I was basically, I had a brother, but he was really not there that much. He was always in and out of trouble. So I was really, other than me and my father wasn't cutting the grass. and he wasn't telling me when to cut the grass. You see that grass needs to be cut. I don't let me have to tell you again. So when you saw the grass need to be cut, you went out there and cut the grass. Right. My sisters didn't have to cut grass. So it was pretty much gender roles in our house. But my father still at the same time, we lived a bunch of wood. So if he had rabbit traps, he had rabbits in his trap when he came home, no matter how big of a dinner my mother cooked, he gonna clean them rabbits and come in there and cook. Cook those rabbits and she don't cook the whole meal. But after he got done cooking them rabbits and tearing up the kitchen, he cleaned it up. It wasn't like he made a mess and like, okay, now you woman, you come here and clean behind me. Right. So see, I saw that example too of he did these things, but so Vicky will tell you, we, like I said, we don't have any gender roles, whatever it takes to make the house, to make the structure, to make the roof, to make the basement, to make it a home. Right. And then like you were saying the thing about the making these individual, help me with that word, that big word you use.
Compartmentalized.
Thank you. You know, I only got a PhD. And for all them people asked me the other day, talking about, Rob, you got a PhD. We didn't know you had a PhD. Yes. I have a PhD, public high school diploma. And I'm proud of my public high school diploma.
I love it. I've got one that's similar. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready for it.
All right. So there is the high school diploma, and there is a bachelor's. Then you get a master's, which is what is that? I forget. PhD. Let me go on to PhD. I'll think of it in a second. PhD is piled high and deep.
Piled high and deep. I like that.
Yes.
All that knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, all that knowledge,
but-
I want to bring it
Hold
back.
on, let me get one thing. When you compartmentalize stuff, and like say, and I never could understand, especially being men, if we going 50-50 on the money, and I love to tell this story, you're going 50-50 on the money, what if she start going, how can you can't touch my money, you can't see my account, and you can't see this, and you can't touch my phone, but then you can get butt naked and get into it. I can't understand. Don't touch my phone. Don't worry about when all. Hey, I know couples that I don't know how much he make. I don't know how much she make. How you married to somebody and you don't know how much they make?
That's
How you married to somebody and you got a lock on your phone and you can't touch your phone, but I can touch your private parts? I can't understand. How can I touch your private part? Your private parts is you got more dominion over your money in your phone than your private parts. I can't. Can you help me make that make sense for me? Drop some of that knowledge on me.
Well, first of all, I can't understand that either because trust is a major factor in a relationship, and that's what it is. I respect his phone. I don't go scrolling through his phone. That's his phone. He doesn't go scrolling through mine. That's my phone.
But my phone is not locked up.
Yeah, and
Say that part
My
again.
phone is not locked up.
Amen. Go ahead.
and mine, I have a code on mine, but he knows what the code is.
Exactly.
So if he wanted to, seriously, he could. But the fact is, we don't. There's a trust. There's an understood factor there that is honorable and trustworthy, and I can't explain that. But I did remember. So I'm going to go back just a little bit.
But one thing I will say, as you heard in the military, and they do their strategy is divide and conquer. That's what they do with their enemies. How you can have a relationship where you dividing up everything and not having your relationship fall apart and be conquered.
That's a good one. BS, MS, PhD. BS, you know what that is.
Yep.
MS is more, and PhD is piled high and deep. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, there you go. BS, MS, more S, and piled high and deep.
Okay, Miss Moderator, I know you want to stick to the strip,
because I want everybody to hear about this book. Book. So in your book, you talk about breaking toxic cycles, and I'm moving ahead. You talk about breaking toxic cycles in your relationship, and what are some of the common toxic patterns you've seen, and how can couples start to break free from them?
Oh, number one, piled high and deep communication, and I'm going to put that at the very top. Toxic relationships are built on communications and or mostly lack thereof, where people have or do not have the capability of communicating with one another. When you hear divorces that are based on irreconcilable differences, what that is code for they can't communicate. When you have a situation where individuals want to constantly blame rather than using us or we, it's you. You did this, you did that. That's another one. A toxic indicator are couples that argue, but they constantly bring up things from the past or other things that have nothing to do with that isolated situation that you have at hand. So when you discuss, you need to stick to the subject. Otherwise, you never resolve any issues. Let's see.
So how do you stick to the subject at hand?
Somebody in the relationship needs to bring it on back home. Yeah, I get it. Whatever the circumstance is, bring it back home. If I go off, he needs to bring it back home. Let's talk about subject A. This is a subject that we're discussing today, whatever it happens to be. And if he goes off, then I'm going to bring him back home to subject A. That's the best way to do it. Otherwise, you end up going off on tangents and you never resolve those issues, whether it's the inability to communicate, whether you've got sexual issues or intimacy issues. When you don't focus on the subject, it's going to be a problem. Yeah.
So you said communication, non-communication, being toxic, swaying away from the topic. What if an individual have no communication skills? How do a spouse teach that other spouse how to communicate?
Oh, that's a toughie too. I'm going to address that in just a moment, but
Okay.
let me go back. When you meet an individual, there are red flags that we all see, and I call them little beep, and you'll say, that was interesting. That was interesting. This person who was not communicating then or now has never communicated. People don't change unless they choose to. So if an individual wants to change, wants to learn how to communicate with his or her partner, then they need to take the action. The inability to communicate does not rest on the shoulders, the responsibilities do not rest on the shoulders of the partner. It needs to be a self-initiated challenge to say, okay, I am not communicating. My partner is not understanding me. What do I need to do? How do I need to fix this? Will you, partner, help me? But it also means that you've got to become vulnerable enough to say, I don't know how to communicate. I don't know how to talk to you. Clearly, I'm doing something wrong because you're always pissed off at me. What do I need to do? And then you solve that problem collectively. So it's not as easy as it sounds, but those kinds of challenges are what I refer to as changes and a change in mindset so that you can go or get from point A, that inability to communicate, to point B where you are able to communicate.
See, I said that because it was tough for me to get through chapter 1. Hey, you couples, I want y'all to order this book. But it might take you a week or so just to get through chapter 1. And you got to read chapter 1 more than once. Because chapter 1 is really dealing with, who is chapter 1 dealing with?
Self-knowledge.
It's dealing with you and your issues. And as you're reading chapter 1, you're reflecting on your shortcoming. What do I need to do better? Where am I falling short at? That chapter 1 was
a doozy.
That was a doozy.
And a lot of self-work.
And go ahead, Vicki.
No, it's a lot of self-work, a lot of reflection. You're thinking like, okay, why am I thinking like, okay, how do I feel about this? Well, how does this make me feel? It's a lot of inner thought.
You cannot come to a relationship unless you know who you are internally. What do you want from this relationship? And if you're in a relationship and it's not working, how do we fix that? Notice I said we collectively. How do we fix that? What do I need to do? Do I need to change? Do I need to reestablish my mindset so that we can move forward? We can't change the past for sure, but what we can do is establish a platform that says right here, right now, what am I going to do going forward? And then and only then can you begin to change. You also need to understand what your own personal values are and how they relate to one another. Because if you are not contrary to what people say, and that is that opposites attract, I would not want to be in a long-term relationship with a complete opposite. And why? Because that means our values are different. Excuse me. Now, values are neither right nor wrong, but they reflect who we are and they dictate our behavior. And so if you're on the same wavelength as it relates to your values, then it's so much easier to communicate, to resolve problems. But if you're not and you don't have the same values, you're going to have problems.
Can you break that down a little further? Because you said, let me make sure I heard you right. You said complete opposites.
Yes.
But then you said values.
Yes.
So you talking about that you can be opposite in some ways, not complete opposite, but then your values got to have somewhere where they meet.
Oh, absolutely. The closer you are in values, the more likely you are to have a long-term relationship. Now, you're not going to be perfect right on and matching in terms of all of the values, but the closer you are in values, the more likely you are to have a long-term relationship.
How do you define values?
Your values are and as I said, they're neither right nor wrong, but your values are what you hold dear to yourself, what you hold inside. I'm going to give you some examples. Some people think it's okay to tell a little white lie. then those little white lies get bigger and bigger and bigger. So is it okay in the relationship to lie? If both parties agree that lying is okay, what kind of foundation do you have for a relationship? Honesty, integrity are values. Here's another one. Punctuality. For some people, timeliness is a virtue. They are not only on time, they are always early. And if one person in the relationship is a hardcore fast, and where I grew up, if you're not early, you're late. So if you're not early, then you're late. But the other says, it doesn't really matter. I've got stuff to do. And so they show up to the family dinner an hour and a half late. That's going to be problematic for their partner, especially if their partner is a punctual person. Creativity is another value. If you are creative and your partner is not and or does not understand nor appreciate your creativity, that could be problematic as well. Honesty, integrity, timeliness. I've got the success, accomplishments, visions and goals, authenticity. Those are all values. And the closer you can get in terms of your partnership, the better off you are. Did I answer your question?
You said a big word there. You know what I got? Oh, you only got a PhD, girl. Authenticity. Did I say that word right?
Yes.
Define that.
Authenticity. Bring to the table who you are.
So your real self.
That's right. Don't put on any airs so that I can accept you for who you are, not for who I think you are or who I think you should be, but show your authentic self. What does that mean? What you see with me is what you get. That's really what it should be.
And that authentic self is, you said earlier about that little blinking red light. We get that little red flag.
That's right. That's a red flag where you go to dinner and in the courtship phase, and you have these wonderful dinners, and it's moonlight and candlelit, and you do all these wonderful things, but it's not really who you are. And then 2 months, 2 years into the relationship, it all stops. What happened to the garden? You know, you got to take care of the garden. You've got to still have those dates, even though you've been together for 40 years. Have the dates. It's quite all right. You should, because it shows that you care about one another.
What happened to the garden?
Yeah.
There's another question you need to squeeze out, Lady Bell. I know.
Yes.
Okay, you know what? Conflict is really huge in relationships and in marriage. And conflict is inevitable in any relationship. What's one of the biggest mistakes couples make when handling conflict and how they approach it differently?
The fact that they use the term you. You did this. You did that. The reason we don't have whatever, the reason we can't is because of you. Self-reflection, come back, take a look, see who you are. What did you contribute? Because it takes two to either create a problem and or to solve a problem. So to answer your question, yes, the use of the word you, failure to communicate is another one. Failure to establish the guidelines. I have in the book and made reference to the couple's code of honor, and I'm going to just read some of these quickly. Yes. The couple's code of honor says, and this is for couples to resolve their issues, we respect one another as partners, regardless of the differences. We focus on the issue. We talked about that earlier. We refrain from personal attacks, negative insults, or sarcastic remarks. We agree that there may be times when we agree to disagree because sometimes you're not going to come to the same agreement always. We agree that the purpose of the code is to establish boundaries and create a civilized, loving, and safe environment for our disagreements, discussions, and arguments. And then this is something that can be signed by both partners. And whenever you get into a heated discussion, bring it up, say, wait a minute, we're not doing this. We are shouting, we're yelling at one another. Let's come on back down to earth. That has been very helpful for some of the couples.
And what was that
I
again you just read?
This is called the Couples Cure Code of Honor.
The couples cure, and that's in the book, right?
It is in the book. There are references, and if not, I'm going to give you a phone number and an email.
Go
and
ahead and
I
get your
will-
give it
information
now.
out. The
Make
name
it.
of the book,
You sure can.
how to contact you, how they can order the book. Listen, gentlemen. Listen, gentlemen. Don't wait for your wife to order it. You need to order this. Order a copy for yourself. Order a copy for your wife. And you need to order it and read chapter 1 immediately. Read it a few times and then make your way through the rest of the book. But please order this book. Go ahead. Let them know all the information, how they can contact you all, how to order the book, and anything else that you can offer them.
Okay, that's fine. So here's the phone number, 415-226-1310.
A little slower, please.
I'll repeat, 415-226-1310. My email address is TCCB. TCCB stands for The Couples Cure Book Lady at Gmail. I'm going to redo that one as well. TCCB Lady at gmail.com. My book is also on Amazon. Google in the search bar for Amazon, press Stel Askia, and I'll spell my name. First name, P like Peter, Restell. Last name, Askia, Askia. Put that in the search bar of Amazon, and the Couples Cure book will come up. If you'd like, by the way, if you order from Amazon, you don't get a signed copy. If you order from me directly, I will sign it and send it to you personally.
So how do they order you from directly?
Either call
Okay, call.
or email me.
Okay.
Otherwise, they can go to Amazon.
Okay, y'all got that information, gentlemen. I know y'all don't hear from time to time. Y'all hear Lady Bell says, a lot of time I initiate things.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make your relationship better, you got to initiate some things. You heard some good information. I'm going to put y'all on the spot right now. We won't be in town next Saturday. What y'all doing next Saturday? Can y'all fill in for us here?
Oh, you know what? Let me take a look at the calendar. Are we next Saturday is
Just let me know.
23rd.
Because if
Okay.
not, we're gonna have them rewind this show. But if you guys can come and do some stuff without me interrupting, you can get out more of this information, because I want this information to get out. Because like I said, it's important to me.
It is.
Every couple should have some mentors in their life. Every couple should have some people that can speak life into them. Every couple should have a garden that they can go to and get some fresh vegetables from. Every young couple should have a couple in their life that they can go to. I'm talking about that tree, a tree of life. There should be some peace. They should be able to go to that tree and get some peace. They should be able to go to that tree and get some love. They should go to that tree and get some wisdom and understanding. 40 years of marriage. She don't wrote a book. She don't spoke to over 500 people concerning relationship, about being happy, peaceful, and healthy, and longevity. And how much time we got left? I want one more definition from you. What is your definition of, you said a healthy relationship. What do a healthy relationship, because a lot of times when I talk about me and Vicky a lot, I tell people, just because I say I got a great wife don't mean perfect. When she says she got a great husband, don't mean perfect. We say we got a good relationship, don't mean perfect. So what do a healthy, happy, peaceful relationship look like to you, or the definition of it?
Well, and we're in the same boat. There are times when I swear I'm going to kill this person beside me, but I don't. And the reason is I love him. I have always loved him. However, that does not mean that our relationship is perfect. We argue about things. This morning he was cleaning up some ice cream, and I says, "Here, honey, take the." I put some soap on a paper towel, and he was cleaning up the ice cream. He looked at me as if, I know how to clean this up. and the thing is, it's little things like that, but regardless of what the issues are, we work toward resolving them together, and we are respectful I have never been abused by this man, nor do I ever
Amen.
expect to be abused by this
Amen.
man, either mentally, emotionally, physically. And so whatever our challenges are, we work together to resolve them.
I always like the key word you keep using. We, us, and together.
Yes.
We,
Us, and together. I like that. And let us know if y'all can make it next week. If not, we thank y'all for joining us. Where them bells at? There ain't no telling where them bells might be at. We will be dancing all around the world, all 2025. Hopefully they can fill in for it next week. But you know how it is. 1 + 1 will always be
1.
2 is bigger, but it's still
1.
2 is after 1, but it's always
1.
If 1 1,000, then 10.
2 is 10,000.
2 is 10,000. Amen. Team Bell, you know I am.
And you know who we with. Everybody have a great week.
We out.
Thank you. What a pleasure.